be eligible for any of the subsidies. Or, for that matter, if he would drop coverage for himself and just pay the fine, he still makes too much to be able to protect his children through Medicaid or S-chip. So he's really in that kind of, you are the people who are just going to get screwed by this legislation. And, he made the comment to me that he, looked me dead in the eye and said, "This is not the country I grew up in." And that's about the nicest thing he was able to say.
Yeah, I bet. Well, and the thing is that what's really ironic, and I just started to see this in the last couple of months, I guess because I've been out of politics for a while, but what's really kind of ironic and sort of funny is that everything that the left accuses conservatives of being is exactly what they are. Like, remember the whole, like, Paul Ryan's going to push Granny off a cliff thing? Yeah, guess whose grandparents are losing their insurance? That would be mine. They, between them, my grandparents have about almost 100 years of teaching experience. So we're talking about public educators. Yeah, they're going to lose their insurance. My grandma is 77. My granddad is 78. Yeah. Yay, Obamacare. Like, I'm a public school teacher. My insurance is going up to $600 a month next year. I can't afford that. Come on, man. Like, they're going to take 35% of my paycheck every month. 35%. I'm in the top tax bracket because apparently $51,000 a year makes me the 1%. I mean, come on. Like, everything they accuse us of being is exactly what they are. They're the ones that are, like, pushing my grandma off a cliff. They're the ones who are taking insurance from cancer patients, for crying out loud. Like, about the only thing they haven't taken is abortions, and I'm sure they'll keep those affordable.
Yeah. The what you just said, Leah, about where you are income-wise and how much you're going to get sucked for health insurance, it's interesting because I think there's a perception out there that teachers and teachers unions really have a lot of featherbed benefits and everything.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
It's good to set some of those records straight, I think, and there's been some very notable, taking on the public sector unions, be it Scott Walker in Wisconsin or Chris Christie in New Jersey.
I absolutely adore for doing that. I mean, okay, Scott Walker has other problems, not the least of which is attacking raw milk farmers. But, I mean, he did take on teachers' unions and beat the stew out of them. So, he'll always be on my good side because of that.
Yep. So, but yeah, that amount that you're going to get socked. I mean, my personal complaint with Obamacare is mainly the absolute destruction they have to flexible spending accounts. In the past year, my family, my wife and I took and for my children took great advantage of that. And actually, we had our FSA built up to about $6,500 and managed to use all of it. And of course, a flexible spending account is a use it or lose it. So you've got to plan pretty well to be able to use it. And in the last year, we did some stuff that I'd been putting off, like a lot of dental work. I was at the dentist's office about once every other week for about 3 months, which was great. But of course, we were able to pay all that using the flexible spending account and the debit card pre-tax. And now, thanks to Obamacare, we can cut that, we can have that be a maximum of $2,500 a year. Which, I mean, is it going to be a gigantic hit? No, it's not, but it was nice to have the money set aside. And have it there for things like prescriptions and deductibles and everything else that wasn't already covered by insurance. Fortunately, the health plan I have is a employer-based HRA plan, which aren't as well known, but it's basically a higher deductible plan, but we don't have the health savings account that we keep. There's instead a reimbursement account that the employer keeps and aggregates. But I can feel for you, Leah, with paying, what would you say? Was it $600 a month?
Yeah. Yeah, that's
which
affordable apparently. $600 a month. That's almost as much as my rent, man.
that's in a lot of places that's a decent mortgage payment. Eh, I remember. I mean, previous job I was paying a lot more than I am now. Basically, paying the full price for one of those Cadillac plans,
Yeah.
and realizing that we were not getting anywhere near the amount of health care that we were actually paying for. So it was a little
Well,
bit
and
of a
the thing
learning
is, like,
experience
the
changing, but
insurance that I have now is awesome. I mean, I get like what most teachers get. I get like the Anthem, Blue Cross Blue Shield. I mean, it pays for everything that I need. I mean, I never see a doctor anyway, so when I choose insurance, I choose it based on my dental, my vision plan, and whether or not it pays for a chiropractor. Because I'm one of those crunchy people, you know. So I see a chiropractor every week, and my insurance pays for it. That's awesome, you know. But apparently, that's the junk plan. Like the government employee apparently has a junk plan. Like, thanks, Obama. What'd you give it to me for if it's a junk plan?
yeah. So is your plan just going up in price, or are you being forced to change too?
Well, it's going up in price mostly. A couple things are going to change. It no longer covers chiropractic. Um, doesn't cover, you know, some other minor things that weren't really important to me anyway. And but hey, I mean, now it covers abortions, so that's cool. Yeah. So just think, guys, your taxpayer dollars are going to pay for my abortions. Yay!
And free birth control.
Yeah, because killing a baby is birth control now. Okay,
Yeah.
whatever.
And $9 a month at Walmart or Target is just too much for anybody to handle.
Well, let me tell
Oh,
you,
that
I had a serious Twitter troll on the line today who told me that she is allergic to birth control. And I was like, okay, so don't have sex. And she was like, she goes, she like goes off on this furious rant about how I'm completely unreasonable. I'm forcing motherhood on her and on and on and on and on and on. I'm authoritarian. Yeah, that's me. 'Cause I want to force a bitter, hateful woman to have children. Yeah, no.
well, you should not be penalized with a child. Isn't that what Barack Obama said, Leah?
Yeah, well, if you don't want to have a baby, don't have sex. It's real simple. It doesn't happen.
True.
Yes, in fact,
I'm so unreasonable, aren't I? Me and my authoritarian ways.
back a couple years ago around the Kentucky Derby, there was a Twitter hashtag game going on with Obama horse names. And
Oh, God.
I seem to remember putting one out there saying that the ideal racehorse name for Barack Obama is punished with a baby.
Oh, my gosh. That's so right.
But yeah, so Keith, I know from conversing with you on Twitter and seeing your stuff in Ed Morrissey's chat room and everything, I know you've got firsthand experience. I think dealing with either the federal exchange or the exchange in Tennessee. Is it correct?
Well, there is. Tennessee doesn't have a state exchange. They were smart enough
Okay.
not to do this. This is a Republican state. Although I live in Memphis, and this is true blue here. They still love themselves Barack Obama. No matter what he does, they're going to love him here. So, but anyway, it's the federal exchange. Yeah, I tried to get on early on, and it took me a while, but I was actually able to get as far as signing up, or not as far as signing up, as far as making an account. And then that went away. I couldn't get any beyond that. And 2 days later, they said they reset the passwords, except you couldn't retrieve your passwords. They didn't know how to send you a reset password like you can get from Amazon.com or any other normal website, and I still can't get back in there.
So 6 weeks on, or are we 7 weeks now? I've lost count. Basically, you still can't comply with what you're being told to do.
Oh no! Well, fortunately, my insurance company I'm dealing with now, which is Humana, because I am a group plan, they've been given they've been given till the end of 2014 to be compliant. So I'm good for another year with what I've got. But I've got high deductible, and I got a pretty high monthly payment. I got a $5,000 deductible for my major medical, and I pay $350 a month. That's just for me. My wife has got her own plan through her employer, and she can't cover me because it's not something where they allow that.
Yeah, that's something that I remember started. I recall. Oh, it had to have been when my wife was still working, which would be back late '90s, early 2000s. The hospital, and this makes it really ironic, the hospital and health system where she was working at the time was going through some financial troubles, and they put down an edict that if you as a hospital employee can get your health insurance from your spouse, we will not cover you.
Right. There's a lot of companies. There are a lot of companies that do that. Well, my wife works in a small place, and they just don't have the money actually to cover spouses and children. You're supposed to do that through some other way. Fortunately, my kids are long since grown up and moved away, so it's just the two of us now. So I have to deal with my own. Plus, I have to deal with my own medical issues, which are not insurmountable. I mean, I got rather large expenses on a monthly basis. So
Sure.
We can talk about that if you want, but I've got multiple sclerosis, and it's a rather expensive proposition to go get the treatments for this.
Yeah, and I'm more than happy to have you bring that up, Keith, because I know it's something you've talked about, and actually during an overseas trip not too long ago, you ran into some health problems while you were overseas as well, if I remember correctly, and that was kind of a harrowing time.
I got food poisoned on a Singapore Airlines flight from Moscow to Houston. Apparently, the food they put on at the airport that we were on, they had some tainted food, and there were a lot of people got very, very sick. And there's litigation going on about that right now. There's a big class action suit, and I'm going to see where that goes. I suspect it's not going to go too far.
No, probably not.
It's good luck trying to sue a foreign entity. They're not a U.S. corporation. They can win a judgment, but good luck collecting.
Well, if you're lucky, maybe they'll just toss everybody some money to make it go away.
I suspect they'll do something like that. They already did toss some money. You know what they did? They said, "We'll give you a free ticket anywhere Singapore Airlines flies." That was what they originally offered.
So you can fly back international via Domodedovo Airport and get more tainted food.
I don't think I'll go through there. I can tell you a story about that airport all by itself, but I'll leave that to another time because we're talking about Obamacare.
Yeah, I'm still torn as to what the right approach for our side to do to deal with this is. I'd actually, I'm of the opinion, and have been for a while, that Republicans should probably just kind of get out of the way and let the Democrats self-destruct over this. It really is kind of entertaining watching the crack up, I think. And it's really kind of, we're starting, I think, to be able to start the betting pool on who's going to throw whom under the bus first.
Well, Obama doesn't seem to throw anybody under the bus. They either have the goods on him that he can't do that, or else they're going to come and write a tell-all book, or worse yet, go and testify before Congress and tell everything. Of course, Holder's not going to do anything because he's one of Obama's buddies, and he's as culpable as Obama is with just about everything you can think of, be it Fast and Furious, Benghazi, whatever scandal has come up over that.
Yeah, well, I unfortunately the Democrats,